Okay, well, welcome everybody. This is the third class we've had on learning about money, and obviously it's a very important part of our life. It's a big part of our life because things go better with money, and the better we can manage what we have, the better life will be going forward. So that's why we do this, and I think I mentioned once before, maybe twice before, that the Bible talks more about money and finances than any other subject. And the reason for that is that God knew we would struggle with it, and so He gave us this guidance in His Word to follow His direction, and wants us to have a prosperous life. And prosperous is not just financial, but it's an important part of what we do. And we're going to learn today about how to save and invest money, give you some ideas on what you can be doing to accomplish that, both short and long term. We use this diagram up here on the table, on the chart here, that as we go through life, this is where we are. We don't have a lot of money now, but we have a lot of responsibilities. And part of that is learning to work and growing families and that type of thing. As we go through life, we'll have more money and less responsibilities. So this is where we want to be. This is our goal here, but it doesn't come easily. Now, these circles, if you'll recall, they're on top of the chart here. This is the money that we have. This is our work money and everything that we have. We have to decide where we want to put it in our life. We're going to talk about that today, about be intentional about what we do with our money, and decide where we're going to put it. This circle over here, this would be our retirement money. This would be our short-term money, so that we have money saved in case we have an emergency that comes up. And then this would be intermediate money for things like we're trying to save for, 3 to 5 years. Cars, somebody brought up the word wedding last time, and we got to save for a wedding because they're not cheap. They can be, but they're not necessarily. So last week we talked about work, and it's important to find something that you like to do, that you think you're particularly skilled at. Oh, hello. Here's an outline. Finding something that you like to do, and my experience is find something that you do that helps people. That's involved with people. Don't just lock yourself in a back room, because that would get to be boring and drudgery. But get involved with people and do something that helps and changes their life. So you can read this. I'm not going to read it to you, but when you get involved in the right kind of job, it doesn't seem like work. It really seems like we were talking about music here last couple of weeks or so, and if you're gifted with music, do that. Find a way to do that, because it's something that you'll love. You won't grow weary of it, and you can make a living at it. And so finding work is very important. So the first thing I want to talk to you about today is start with money. You need to start with a plan. Okay, so I've written down some things here. You can take this with you and make a plan. And we talked a little bit last time about the difference between being broke and being poor. Being broke is making bad decisions. Being poor is having a bad mindset. You don't have to be poor. Not in this country, you don't. There's lots of opportunity out there. We were talking about artificial intelligence here, and somebody's got to build that infrastructure. Artificial intelligence is going to be a really big thing going forward, but somebody's got to build that infrastructure, and it's going to take skills. It's going to take manual skills, and it's going to take people to be able to do that. So don't think that artificial intelligence is going to take over jobs. It'll take over some jobs, but it won't take over the kind of jobs that a lot of us will do. Okay, so you don't have to go to college to get those skills. You can get those skills other places. If learning in college is not a big thing for you, it wasn't for me particularly, but it was a thing to do back in the day. So I went to college and got a degree and moved on. But you don't have to do that. There's lots of opportunity out there. So I say here, be intentional with your money. When I say be intentional, you have to make a decision on the front end. Are you going to be a spender or are you going to be a saver? It's a very intentional mental decision that you make. If you're a spender, every dime that you make is going to be spent on something, and you don't plan ahead for those other circles that are up there. And so when you're working for the next 30-40 years, guys, that's your peak income earning years. You've got to fill up those circles, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Okay, so you have to be intentional, but before you make the money, you have to have a plan for what you'll do with it. So we have short-term savings, that's the circle on the left, mid-term savings in the middle, and long-term savings really has to do with your retirement. Okay, so those are the three things. When you get over to this side of the wealth curve, and I'm there. I've worked for 50 years, so I haven't always been intentional in saving money, but I did the last 20 years. And so today I have the option to work. I don't have to work, and that's nice. I met with some people this morning that are retired folks, and they don't have a lot of money, but we talked to them about what they're going to do now that they're at a certain age. They have to move out of their house and into someplace else. So you have to be intentional with that, and decide that ahead of time, and then small actions over time is really what it takes. So when you make a decision to do this, don't just do it for 1 week and then drift away from it for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. Every week. I mean, it has to be intentional, and it's just a matter of being disciplined and doing what you do. I didn't learn that early on in life. I wished I had, but later on I got pretty good at it, and unfortunately I'm married to a lady who's even better at it than I am. So she puts me to shame quite often, but she's a saver. She's a saver. She shops well. She goes around to discount stores and finds the best deal, and then once she finds out the best deals at the grocery store she goes to, then she'll go to Albertsons or Vons and fill in the stuff that they didn't have. But she saves a lot of money that way. She shows me, and it's really amazing. So, but you have to be consistent over time. She does that every time she goes shopping, every time. Now let's talk about saving, and feel free to ask any questions that come up here along the way. The whole idea of making a plan. How many of you make a plan? Have you ever done that, or have you? Tell me what you do.
No, so I'm actually working on trying to learn how to do things like this.
Okay.
And that's like just the starting of basic.
Okay.
Starting idea.
We're gonna give you some structure to that today.
Thank you.
That hopefully will help you to make as you make those decisions, how to structure them in your life so that you do. I will tell you that saving is not easy. Most of the time, and I did this in my life, after I got done spending my money and doing all the fun stuff that I wanted to do, if there's anything left over, I saved it. How often do you think I did that at a younger age? Doesn't really work very well, does it? So what I encourage people to do, and we'll talk about that in a second, is save at the beginning of the month. And it doesn't make a difference how much it is. It could be $10. I have people that I work with that save $10 a month, but they do it every month, and it comes out of their paycheck automatically. They don't write a check. It comes out automatically, so they save that, and then they live on what's left. And that's a hard thing to do, particularly when you're younger and you're on this end of the curve, right, where there's not a lot of money, but it's a discipline and it's a habit that we all need to do. And the sooner we learn to do that, you guys are at a great age to learn to do that, and just live on what's left. So saving is short term. Now we often call that circle an emergency fund. And when you get into the habit of saving, you can go to the bank or a credit union and you can set up a savings account there. One of the problems with that is they don't pay you a lot. I mean, they pay, if you go to a credit union today and you put money in a savings account, they pay you 0.1% per year. Okay, so if you have if you save $1,000, how much interest do you make on that in a year? 0.1%. Don't know. What's 10%? 10% would be $100,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Okay, 1% would be $10. 1/10 of 1% would be less than $1 a year that they're paying you to hold your money. That's not very good, right? It just doesn't grow. It can't grow. But let me ask you this: if you have a credit card at a bank or a credit union, what kind of interest rate do they charge you for that credit card? You guys have credit cards?
So I'm actually trying to get involved with credit cards.
Okay.
I don't know how it works though, but I'm good at like borrowing real quick and then paying that off
Good.
ASAP.
Okay, good for you.
I don't like
Because credit card companies will charge you 20% a year for that credit. So let's do the math on that. If you had $1,000 on your credit card and you paid interest on that for a year, what's 20% of $1,000?
like $200.
$200. They're paying you less than $1 and charging you $200. Why do you think banks have big buildings? You ever wondered about that? They're making $199.90 off of your account. That's why they do that. So you have to know that and understand that banks are in the business to make money. They're in the business to loan money out, and they charge you a lot of interest for that. If you can avoid that, that's better. And your idea of use a credit card, but pay it off every month. That way you avoid the interest that they're charging you. So that's a good idea. The reason that they charge you that is it's a guaranteed amount that they will pay you. It used to be banks would pay you 5% a year. So, on $1,000 they'd pay you $50. Now they don't. But it's very low risk. You can't lose it. It's there so you earn you earn a very low rate of interest. So the idea of risk, when you're investing money, when you're saving money, you have to think about how much risk are you taking. If you put money into something that is very low risk, they're not going to pay you very much interest. If you put something into higher risk, like real estate or something like that, because real estate can go down in value. Right now it's not, it's going up in value. But if there's more risk involved, you can earn a higher rate of interest. Does that make sense? Okay, so when we're talking about savings, it's very low interest. Now, when you're saving automatically, there's several apps out there on the phone that allow you to do that. The one I use that I like and have used for quite some time is called Betterment. There's another one called Chime. There's many out there. So if you Google saving apps, several will come up, and you can pick which one. Take a look at them and see what they want. But you set it up on your phone, and you link it to your bank account, and every month $10 goes into that account. Every month at the beginning of the month. Okay, then you don't have to worry about it, and you don't have to remember it. It's automatic. You just know that if you make $1,000 a year and $10 is going in, you only have $990 to spend on other stuff. Okay. Now I think I told you I have a young lady that's a single mom, small baby, lives with her mom. And when we started working with her several years ago, she started saving $10 a month. Now she's saving $75 a month, and she has over $5,000 in her savings account, which she never had before. And so it's a wonderful thing to accomplish. It's something that we have to do. It's all part of the discipline that we do. And as I say, do it automatically. Don't try to rely on your own memory. On the other page of this, the other side of this page, talk about investing. Now there is a distinct difference between saving and investing. Saving is what you do every month, and it's there for you. It's your emergency fund. It's your left circle that you can get out whenever you need it. So if you have a car repair comes up, or a medical emergency, or something that comes up that you need some money, you can go there and get it, like right now, within a day or so. Investing is different. You're saving money for longer term the two circles, the bottom circles on the middle one and the right one, you're saving for longer term stuff. And so you want to get a higher rate of interest on that. So the some of the places you can go to do that, you can go to your bank and do that, and they have investing opportunities there. But just understand that when you invest it, you can't get at it right away. Sometimes there's a certificate of, they call it a certificate of deposit. You have to lock it up for 30, 60, 90, even a year, and you can't get at it without paying a penalty. So you want to keep your emergency fund in an account where you can get at it right away. The one in the middle now, we're talking intermediate. So you want to be able to get at that money when the day comes when you're ready to put a down payment on a car, or you're going to get married and you just need to start spending money on that, or you're going to put a down payment on a home, or anything that might come up. You want to be able to get at that, but you know that's coming. So let's say you're going to buy a car, and you know within 3 months you're going to, well, now you have 3 months to take the money out of that account. Okay, you don't have to have it today, you need it 3 months from now. So that's why you want it in an intermediate account, so you can get at it. You have flexibility there. When we're talking about the circle on the right, that is really long term. You're looking at locking that up for 7, 8, 10 years, so that it'll grow tax free for you, and then when you take it out, you use it for whatever you want. In my case, I'm retirement years, although I'm not retired. I don't believe in retirement. I just want to be able to do things that I want to do, like teach a class, and I find that fun to do. So the invest in learning. I'm going to leave some books here that you guys can have access to, and it's written specifically for you. It's called How Money Works for the Next Generation, and it's got all kinds of stuff in here. And in the back, it talks about how to buy a home, how to buy a car, how to save for college, how to do those kinds of things, and it's specific instructions in here how to do that. So I'm going to leave these books here with Steph, and you guys can come and use them. However you want to do that, whether you loan them out or you come here and use them, whatever you want, but these are yours to use. So learning is very important. You have to learn these principles, and I know I'm dumping a lot of stuff on you, but it takes time to learn this stuff, and you'll do it. You'll do it. We all do it. So invest in learning how money works is so important. It's so important. The next thing I say here is do not own things that lose value. What are some things that lose value that maybe you think about buying? Cars is probably the most obvious one. Yeah. Anything else?
Jewelry?
Sometimes jewelry. Sometimes.
True.
Unless you buy good stuff, But who can afford good stuff?
Rich people.
Yeah, rich people. When I was in college, I bought a stereo system. The minute I bought, and the guy sold it to me for, I forget how much it was too much. The minute I bought it, it was worth nothing because nobody else wanted it. So, stuff like that. Golf clubs is another thing that, that I had an addiction to golf for a while, and so I needed to have the newest and the greatest and all of that. And you guys, whatever catches your attention, might be a musical instrument or it might be something like that. But avoid things that lose value. And that, again, that's being intentional about what you buy. You just need to be aware of that. Invest in things that gain value. I've got a list of things here that tend to gain value. I could have put jewelry on here, but because that can go up in value, and particularly if it's gold, or silver or something like that. I have a client that I was working with, and she and her husband 50 years ago bought gold coins, and she has a whole bunch. She has 100 of them, and she bought them. And I asked her, I said, "How much did you pay for these?" She says, "Oh, I don't know, $50 each or something like that." You know what a 1 ounce gold coin is worth today?
A lot. Oh, I don't know the specific number, but I know it's a lot.
$5,100, thank you. And she's got 100 of them.
Oh my gosh, really? Wow.
And she had no idea what she had. She just said, "Well, we just have some coins."
That's
So anyhow, we're figuring that out right now. What we're gonna do with those. And she doesn't need them. She doesn't need them to live on. So anyhow.
Yeah, she would get good money turning those
A
in.
lot.
Oh yeah.
Cause they get now like even just regular. It could be like honestly fake too, like really cheap silver, and they just dip it in gold.
Yeah.
And it's plated.
Yeah.
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 So that's good money. too.
Sterling silver and stuff like that.
But that's a smart thing to say about the do not own things that lose value.
Yeah, that's right.
Smart.
It's really important, and that's why I don't buy cars. I lease cars, and I can lease a nicer car today than I could back in the day, but I don't own them because as Toby, right?
Yeah.
Said cars go down.
They lose
And
value the moment they leave
The
the
moment
lot if you buy them.
the minute you drive them off the lot, you're absolutely right. You've done this, right?
I've had some financial classes in high school.
Yeah, good for you. But that's you can buy a really good used car. I like Toyotas and Hondas.
Yeah, I was saying like that was one of my goals. I've been trying to save up
My
for
family
that.
just kind of lucked into buying Toyotas.
Toyotas are so reliable though. Like
Oh.
Toyotas throw all the cars out the category.
I bought my daughter's 41. We bought her a Toyota when she was in high school. Okay, so what's that, 20 some years ago,
Yeah.
right? She still has it.
Wow, see?
Still driving it.
And it's don't even have that much problems, huh? Toyotas
They
are
had to take it in to do something just recently and it cost them $1,000 to get it fixed, but that's cheap. And she's driven that car for 20 years.
Dang.
and loves it. And her husband does too. I mean, the car's paid for, they own it. It no problem. So Toyotas and Hondas
Yeah.
are pretty good. So when you're talking about buying things at an increase in value, your home. I mean, hopefully you all have a dream someday of owning your own home, and real estate has a tendency to go up in value, and so that's a good thing to have. But you live there, so it's a wonderful thing. Other kinds of real estate that you could consider would be rental property, things like that. If you, for example, you may want to have a 2-unit rental property and live in one of them and rent the other one out, that lowers your cost of cash flow, and then that property will go up in value, and eventually you'll move out of that into something else, and now you can rent them both out. But that's being intentional with your investment. Real estate's a good place to go. The stock market, be careful of the stock market. I lost a lot of money in the stock market thinking that I was smarter than a professional advisor and was doing what they call day trading, and I didn't do well. Now I use professional advisors, and I'm doing very well. So just be careful about doing it yourself. The stock market can be very risky. Very risky. You got to know what you're doing. Here's precious metals. We talked about gold and silver. Good place to invest, and they go up in value. Now, index funds are an interesting thing. They've been around for a long time, but they've really gained in popularity. They're not invested in the stock market, but they're invested in global markets. And they have very little risk of going down. They only go up. Okay, so when you're considering investing, if you have a little extra money and you're going down to your Charles Schwab or Edward Jones or one of those outfits where you want to open up a brokerage account, think about it. Think about index funds, but go to a professional advisor when you do that. That would be my counsel. And then later on, the circle that's halfway down there on the right, that's when you get to the point where you want to start buying insurance, life insurance, that type of thing. You have a family now and you want to insure your family so that if something happens to you, that they will continue to have a stream of income. There's a product out there that's a combination of life insurance and investment. It's called an Index Universal Life. And I won't go into the details of that, but it's a wonderful play if you're young and you have extra money and you put it into that. in short, it grows tax-free, and when you pull it out, it's tax-free. So it's a very unique kind of a product, but it's really designed for long-term investing. You know, you don't want to do intermediate investing with that or anything. It's long-term investing, and it accomplishes the three things: life insurance if you need it, long-term investing that earns tax-free, and the third thing it does is it'll provide long-term care should you become disabled. So it's a wonderful product. They call it the Swiss Army knife of insurance products, Index Universal Life. It works out well for the right people. So final statement here is, you know, you're at an age now where you just have to work hard. You got to be disciplined, and be patient with it because it takes time. You know, steady plodding. It's really all about steady plodding. That's one of the biblical principles that God talks about. Is that get rich quick is not the way to go. It just doesn't. It rarely happens unless you win the lottery, or have a big inheritance, which I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Or you win a lawsuit from somebody. I mean, that's another thing. But it just doesn't happen. So steady plodding brings prosperity over a long period of time. And then when you get to the far right there, you'll feel really good about what you've accomplished. Any questions on that? On investing? Investing is a very complex area. That's why I suggest you get professional help when you get involved in it. You're not there yet. It'll be a few years before you get to that particular part. Master the savings piece first, and then when you're ready, you have extra money and you're making more money, talk to a professional counselor. Here's a worksheet for you. Yes, ma'am.
So my problem's been recently. So like I'm trying to work on the savings things.
Mm-hmm.
So for right now, I'm still looking hard on my job.
Okay.
For a job,
Okay.
but I do get little income by doing certain things and drug work and stuff. So the thing is, I have like a savings, like a physical savings
Yeah.
that I keep in a little trinket box.
Okay.
And sometimes my problem is that when like my money runs out, I run to that, and that's not a good thing at all because I really do need that money to keep being saved.
But what's your name?
Hope.
Hope. Life gets in the way. I'm not going to kid you about that, because right now at this stage in your life, income is like this, right? It's pretty hard to set aside any amount of money. That's why I say start with $10. Most everybody can do $10.
Yeah.
Okay, and it shouldn't it won't change your lifestyle too much. But this worksheet is designed to say, okay, you make X number of dollars a month, and you once you get a job, and your income is more steady, then this worksheet helps. So that top line there, the monthly income after taxes, that's what you bring home from your pay. Remember, they take a lot of taxes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, have you noticed? Yeah.
I never got that yet, but I know how that stuff works.
Well, they take out federal and state withholding, they take
Like
out Social
100?
Security tax, they take out state disability, and all of that. You probably, when all is said and done, you bring home about, if you make $1,000, you probably bring home about 800, 700, 800. The rest of it's going to taxes, you know. So that number there would be the $700 or $800. Now you have to decide. And if you use this worksheet over and over, use a pencil in here so you can erase it and change the numbers as you make more income. But then figure out, okay, your emergency fund. How much do you want to take of your income and put in an emergency fund? Okay, that's your piggy bank, or it's a savings account at a credit union or bank, or it's one of those on your phone things. $10 a month. Start with 10.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let it grow. Yes, ma'am.
One more question. So since you have Chime yourself,
I have Betterment. It's the same thing.
so what do you say about those things? I think that's a smart idea. I never knew that that's what it was for.
What they do, and they give you options on how you want to invest the money. So if you're doing $10 a month, I just put it in a money. They have a money market fund that'll pay you like 3 or 4%. It's better than a
They'll
bank.
pay you back? Oh, they'll pay your interest.
They'll pay you interest on the money. So you add $10 a month, They'll pay you interest on that, okay? That's what it's for. They also have an option where you can take what you're putting in there and put it into the stock market if you want to. And you can put you don't have to put 100% in the stock market, which I wouldn't advise you to do. I would say put 60% maybe in the stock market and 40% in fixed income, which means that it'll pay you income every month. The stock market stuff has some risk to it. It could go down in value. So you have to be aware of that. Right now, the market is down because we're fighting a war overseas.
Yeah.
That'll change. Came back up today, but that'll change. But put part of it in the stock market as you can. I would say once you have $1,000 in your emergency fund, then you could begin diversifying into the stock market. I wouldn't do it before that.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure you build a nice solid fund there. $1,000, man, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That's your first goal, by the way.
I never even had $1,000.
Well, that's your first goal.
Yeah.
$1,000
That is a goal.
$1,000 in your emergency fund. Okay, and that goes over here. Then the next set of boxes here on this worksheet is your spending, and you have to break it. How are you spending your money? And that's hard. Is that hard?
Yes, it's really hard because usually like when these times are coming around with the heat and stuff, I'm like, I don't want to take the bus. So I usually gas money.
Yeah.
Ubers. It kicks butt and it adds up. So it's like all my money. It's all the time.
Well, you know what I've learned as I've gotten
And I
older.
help others.
Good for you. Yeah, good for you. Well, that's why I have one of the boxes on here is giving.
Oh yes.
It's important. It's really important.
True.
But what I've learned is, and I've had the privilege of working with some fairly wealthy people. Everybody's broke. They're just broke at a different level. You know?
Yeah.
It is so true.
True.
People spend what they make.
Oh, my brother used to say, and he's a hustler too. Like he works on cars and stuff.
Yeah.
He says, act broke, not be broke. Like said something like that. And I was like, that's true because he like when people ask him all the time, like he's like, I don't got no money, but he always has money. So it's just like.
And let me guess. He drives an old car.
He has a box Chevy. You probably know him.
No, I don't.
Oh my gosh, he was actually in through these. He got up from this program,
Did
like
he?
these programs. Yeah, he got blessed all the way out.
Good.
Like it was a good thing.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting in this town. Bakersfield's kind of an interesting town. You can walk by somebody on the street and you almost want to give them $1 because they look so broke. And you find out later that they own the town because that's the way people live. Wealthy people live like they're broke, just like he said. You know.
Yeah.
And if you wanna find a broke person, just see what kind of car they drive.
True.
It really is true.
He has like a.
It's not always true, but in a lot of cases it is because everybody wants to just be popular and they want everybody to think they're doing well.
Yeah. True.
That's the devil's trick.
Yeah.
So anyhow, but doing a spending plan, you have to do it. I mean, and when I started out saying that you have to be intentional with how you're spending money, that is absolutely true. But start with your saving, start with your emergency fund, and then whatever's left over, then you have to allocate it and how you're going to spend it. Midterm savings then is if you are building towards buying a car, buying a home, or whatever it happens to be, then you have to allocate a certain amount of money there for that. But the first thing you got to do is you got to fill up these first two boxes and live. And then when you have extra money left over, then you put it there. And then the box all the way on the right is all about your savings. And that's when you get in the hands of a professional advisor and they tell you how you need to save money and how much risk you should be taking and how much you'll have when you reach a certain age. And those are all you can calculate all of those things. So again, this is just a worksheet and you use pencil on it. And it's not easy, guys. At a young age, figuring out where your money is going to go is not easy. It's not easy. Once you get a steady job, then it becomes easier. So, that's pretty much all I have for the day. Any questions on any of this? Saving and investing, way different. They're both different. But get the savings part done first, and then become very disciplined. Steph, anything you want to say?
No, great advice.
Okay.
Make small goals, like you said, start with $10 a month, build it up to 1,000, and then you can start thinking of the next step.
That's right. And it will happen, guys. It will. You'll see as you go through life. In 5 years, this will take on a whole different meaning for you. 20 years, same thing. So, all right. Anything else? This statement at the bottom of the page is one that I live by. Steady plodding, right? Steady plodding. Spend less than what you make. Save and invest the difference, and do it over a long period of time. And life will be good. All right. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Dave.